Glass is the greatest. That's where real expansion of your mind and talents can be found. Turn on. Square problems. Self-knowledge is really power.
Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Brando the Jedi, and today we're going to be talking about Commando and its top 10 moments, starting off with number 1. And I don't have these rated in no particular way, but this is just the first scene of the movie, so I figured I'd give it a little bit of praise for this. And unfortunately, the first character that we get introduced to, Lawson, he gets caught slipping, taking the trash out on a Tuesday, when he clearly said it was on a Thursday. I would say he deserved that, but no. He's supposed to be some type of ex-soldier, but when he gets shot, he is completely clueless. He doesn't know what's going on. And then they double tap him, like he was gonna come back to life or something. I know it's probably part of the story to kill him off early, just to get to the main character, but I was hoping at least we could have him put up a little bit of fight before we get to Commando. So that brings us to our number 2 top moment. And my number 2 top moment is the truck chase scene, right after Jenny's been kidnapped. This is one of the most defining moments of the movie. And in this scene, he can't use guns to solve his problem. There's nobody around to beat up to solve this problem. The only thing he can do is pursue. Even with a destroyed truck engine, his determination does not waver. And in my opinion, this is one of the coolest moments of the movie. He pushes his truck all the way to the edge of the cliff and then he ghost rides it all the way down. And I forgot to mention, the brakes on this truck are also destroyed. No chill, ready to kill anybody who's down this hill. I mean, he's a madman at this point. And then after the crash, he hops out like nothing happened. The enemies appear and they started scrapping. And I'm not talking about just getting off one hit. He manages to knock out about 5 guys before the enemies get a hold of the situation. So that brings us to our number 3 top moment. And this is nothing fancy, but pretty brutal. I call this the airplane kill broken neck. And that's probably one of the coolest things I can say about this movie. The type of kills that he performs never cease to amaze me. And I think Enriquez might have got one of the worst kills in the movie, or maybe one of the best. He catches an elbow to the face and immediately goes to sleep. And then we get to see Mr. John Matrix perform the Nutcracker. Literally, with his bare hands. And then he props his head up with a pillow. At this point, he's damn near being a ventriloquist. You don't see these kind of things in movies anymore, especially actors doing the one-liner punchlines. Arnold had some of the most memorable quotes ever.
Don't disturb my friend, he's dead tired.
So that brings us to our number 4 top moment. And this next moment is just pure insanity. That airplane that you just seen him board, well guess what? He's gonna jump out of that same airplane after it takes off. And this thing's going about 170 miles an hour. And when it takes off, it takes off. I'm talking about 100 feet in the air. And then, right before it reaches traveling point, he jumps off into the shallow marsh below. Now hear me out. Yes, a regular man would die from that. But would Commando die from that? I don't think so. Scenes like this are what makes a good action movie. Surviving the impossible. Never giving up. Even when the odds are stacked against you, you keep fighting with everything you have until your very last breath. So that brings us to our number 5 top moment. And in this next top scene, we're gonna be dealing with superhuman strength. And I'm not even talking about strong for an average man. I'm talking about Captain America level type strength. We got Sully trapped in the phone booth trying to make the call, and John's not letting that happen. And he's completely destroying this phone booth just by shaking it. And not only that, but he lifts this thing up with a grown man inside and throws it. John is breaking the Matrix. He literally is a superhero right now. He can't be stopped. He can't be controlled. If this was the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they would have to recruit him into the Avengers. So that brings us to our number 6 top moment. And this next top scene just continues from the last one. Still inside the mall, John is causing complete pandemonium. No time to talk, no time to slow down, and definitely no time to explain to these cops what's really going on. And of course, these officers aren't the bad guys, and they're only doing their job. But for this situation, you can quote the words of Anakin Skywalker. If you're not with me, then you're my enemy. So that means anybody in his path, Anybody who tries to stop Mr. John Matrix is gonna have a real bad day. Which leads us into the highlight of our sixth top moment. Sully has managed to get a few steps ahead of John, and now he's in the elevator only a few moments away from escaping John's grasp. So he's gotta think of something fast, and he comes up with one of the craziest ideas ever, swinging straight to the elevator like Tarzan. And he times this jump perfectly, landing right on top of the elevator like an old school platformer game. His movements are like the bionic Commando, and after seeing what he can do, I'm not sure which would be scarier at this point, being chased by the Terminator or being chased by Mr. John Matrix. So that brings us to our number 7 top moment. And we got Cindy taking the lead of this next scene. John has been detained by the police. No bail, he's going straight to a cell. And if you can't tell, she's got a bazooka underneath her veil. She is determined to get John out of jail. With no hesitation at all, she fires the launcher. And she's a dead shot with precision, disabling the truck perfectly and also managing not to injure him in the process. She might be one of the greatest sidekicks on screen. I mean, just think about it. Her character is supposed to be a regular civilian that gets thrown into all this turmoil, and she's still down to complete the mission at hand. And the funniest part is John even asked her how she was able to shoot the bazooka, and this was her response.
I read the instructions.
So that brings us to our number 8 top moment. Okay, now we're getting into the steak and potatoes, the beans and toast, the biscuits and gravy. John is about to unlock Berserk mode, and this is the part in the movie where all hell breaks loose. I like to call this next scene Matrix's compound assault. If you're working at this facility, I hope you put in for vacation time today, because if you're scheduled to work this afternoon shift, you're about to get fucked up. John is a one-man army, and the way that he runs in here and completely demolishes everybody just reminds me of the old Contra video games. He storms into the facility all by himself, no help, no backup, no support. And to be honest, he doesn't need it, because everybody he encounters, he destroys. He annihilates them. And in this scene, you get the clear distinction that none of these guys are on the same playing field as Mr. John Matrix. So that brings us to our number 9 top moment. And in this scene, the bad guys get the upper hand, and they force John to retreat into a garden house. And the only weapons that he has are the tools around him. This is probably my most favorite action sequence in the movie. The first guy walks in, catches a pitchfork right to the chest. The second guy gets a saw blade thrown at him like Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat. And the move is so nice, he uses it twice. And then at this point, he just uses anything he can get his hands on. I think John Matrix is portrayed as the perfect soldier in this movie. And if it came down to a 1v1 with Commando versus Rambo, I think Commando would be the one who comes out victorious. So that brings us to our number 10 top moment. John has finally reached the final boss, Bennett. And I'm not gonna lie, if you stack these guys' attributes next to each other, you're going to notice that the villain slash big boss is severely lacking in some stats. But the actor, Vernon Wells, has so much charisma, and I think his over-the-top look and acting goes a long way, and actually makes this character seem a lot tougher than he really is. Well, that's until we get to see the finale of the movie. And we get to see John Matrix versus Bennett in a knife fight. This movie starts on a high, and it definitely ends on a high as well. Which brings us to the final kill of the movie. John impaling Bennett with a steam pipe. And I'm not even kidding, he grabs a pipe off the wall and then impales Bennett with it like a spear. And just to top things off, we get one of those great classic Arnold lines, just so we remember whose movie we're watching.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
Well, that's all I got for Commando and its top 10 moments. If you liked the video and you like what you heard, please hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you next time with more movie news reviews.
Glass is the greatest. That's where real expansion of your mind and talents can be found. Turn on. Tune out of the rat race and its square problems. And tune in on real self-knowledge and creative power.